Well, it is November 12th, 2018, and news is spreading all over that Stan Lee of Marvel Comics, legendary comic book writer and creator, passed away this morning after being rushed to the hospital for medical reasons earlier beforehand. And as someone who met Stan Lee about, I think at least on a couple of occasions, it feels surreal to me. I mentioned on Twitter how it is. I use that word. It's just surreal, because you see someone who was just bigger than life and did so much, and you saw them in the flesh, a few feet away from you, talking, interacting with them, and you treasure moments like that. Whether it's not just with Stan Lee, but with anyone in the entertainment industry that you idolize or have mad respect for. You're just in awe, starstruck, I guess is a way to put it. And knowing that they're no longer of this world, that's why it just feels weird. People feel like their heart is empty, or like a lump in their throat or a pit in their stomach, after hearing that. Almost like they just lost a best friend or a relative they were close to. And I had that feeling too, because I would like to believe that he had so much more to do, and I think he did. I mean, I know he was running his POW Entertainment, I think it is. He wasn't really too directly involved with Marvel much, these last years. And so I know the cameos, I have to bring this up again, because the cameos were one of the things I always looked forward to when watching the Marvel movies. And I heard that he has filmed a few in advance. Marvel wrapped up this next Avengers movie, the second one of Thanos, I think a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so. So that's behind us, the filming. And I haven't heard any news if he filmed his cameo for that, but knowing Stan Lee, I think we all know he probably managed to get his cameo filmed for that. They cannot have Avengers, with a Stan Lee cameo if he's still alive. So we'll wait and see. I have a funny feeling that he said, put me in there. He even filmed his scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and the second Deadpool movie in advance rather than during, I think, the primary production of those films, in case this day happened earlier. And so Stan Lee had an idea, to get those done, because he knew he was on limited time. And hell, if we were all 95 years old and we were in his position, we would probably do the same thing too. And so I have a feeling, even right now, we haven't seen the last of his cameos. There might be at least two, hopefully more. And when this day happened, I almost didn't do this video, but I thought, what, I really should, because for those who have followed me on this channel a lot, you all know that I film a lot of celebrities at conventions, and I feel it should be a tribute on my side to at least do videos honoring them or talking about their passing, of celebrities I filmed at when they pass. Because I did that with China, the wrestler, formerly known as Joanne Lauder. I did that for her when she passed, because I have a video here on my channel where I filmed her at a panel when she came to Alma City Comic Con. And even though I didn't meet her, I did see her in person. And when I was in line buying photo op tickets at that same convention, my second cousin who was with me in line pointed out to Joan Lauer, who was nearby, maybe less than 5 or 10 feet away from us, and I got to see her really up close. And that feeling of surrealness when she passed happened at the time, just like it is happening now for Stan Lee with me. So I thought, what, maybe I should probably go ahead and make videos like this for celebrities that I filmed who passed. I'll probably go ahead and do that. Regardless of my schedule or anything. Like today, I was very busy, I had a lot of stuff to do to prepare for this weekend. My sister's getting married, and then this news happens, and I'm like, I wish I could, post stuff online or, talk about that stuff, but I had a lot of stuff to do. I was busy. But now all of that is done. I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and do a quick film. So I'm not going to really talk much about, like his career, the details, and what he went through to success, because a lot of videos have already talked about that. What I want to do is just talk about, how it's affecting me as someone who personally met him. As a matter of fact, I have right here my photo op with him from Dallas Fan Expo about 3 years ago, and I actually did a video on that convention as well, because at the time I was like, I didn't get a whole lot of footage from that, but because it's Stan Lee, I thought, let's go ahead and do that. And I'll probably post a link to that video in the description below if you guys want to check out what I had. And I recommend it. I make it interesting, about it. I even talk about my interaction that happened, before this photo and after this photo was taken. I didn't mention this in the video I just talked about, so this is some additional stuff. I felt like when I was standing next to him for this photo, it felt like I was standing next to my great-grandfather, because my great-grandfather was of similar body frame, thin, like well over 90, although my great-grandfather lived to be 105. And yeah, it felt like I was standing next to my great-grandfather again, but I wasn't. I was standing next to Stan Lee. And it was the rules, of the photo op, don't engage in conversation, because there's like hundreds, if not like 1,000 people online that got to get through in a short scheduled time. The convention, even on Saturday night, closed at 7 p.m. as opposed to like 10 or midnight. For Comic-Cons, they tend to close earlier than anime conventions. Like, I think San Japan's open open until I think midnight or so. Or I have to say that, I didn't get to really converse with him. But I can't say I met him. I took my second cousin with me because I know he wanted it. And now he has a picture of him with Stan Lee, although he says he doesn't like the way he looks in the picture. He says, but hey, at least after this day, he'll probably appreciate that picture more. Because he's with him. And at 95 years old, I had, before this day came, I was kind of hoping he would make it to 100, considering, how often he was still doing convention appearances, and despite his age. But then I started to hear how he was starting to have carpal tunnel in his hand or something, or his hand was just really hurting from signing so many autographs. He had to give an assistance to his tables, and I'm not talking just the regular volunteer convention escorts. No, I mean wheel around stuff, which I'm sure elderly celebrities who do Comic-Con appearances. But we still have some time to hopefully do that. My hometown here does have a Comic-Con, and there's other Comic-Cons in nearby cities around here, so I have plenty of opportunities to meet and that. Although filming them is a little different at Comic-Cons. That's why you see a lot of videos on my channel about anime conventions, because those are much easier for me to get a hold of. But as for Stan Lee, they did mention, I think it was last year in April, was his last appearance here in the state of Texas at Fan Expo Dallas. And I'll admit, I was a little tempted to stop by that, because he was advertised even on the website or the pamphlets as Stan Lee's final Texas appearance. And at the time I didn't quite believe it, because I think at a prior Texas Comic-Con convention to that one, I saw the same headline, and then I see it again for Dallas Fan Expo. I was like, are you sure? Do you talk to the other Comic-Con, chair people and stuff to know if they've booked him, or is it in this spirit of competition that they're keeping under wraps until the time comes to make the announcement? Well, it's behind us now. But but Fan Expo Dallas got to actually have the privilege of actually being Stan Lee's final Texas appearance. Unless I'm wrong, unless he made like another appearance in Texas somewhere. I'm talking Comic-Con appearances, like convention appearances. I don't know. I might double check that myself after this video just to be sure, but unless someone else out there already knows. But Stan Lee, yes, like we're all gonna miss you, but at least, you know, we'll still be watching the characters you co-created. Gotta make sure I say that right too, because he was a co-creator, not the sole creator, of many of the heroes that you've created, the stories, the personalities you did. Went against his boss's wishes to make them more relatable and human as opposed to invincible and super with no problems in life. You know, like Spider-Man, you know, Hulk emotions, and Wolverine, you know, being an outcast and stuff. He set the bar of how superheroes should be written instead of being an archetype. To evolve the heroes' personalities, not, you know, or just fictional characters in general, make them more relatable. We're going to be, of course, even our grandchildren or great-grandchildren, I bet will probably also still be, you know, watching his works. The only thing we'll really miss, of course, is his cameos and convention appearances. But we knew at 95 years old that, you know, he was limited. And I was kind of hoping he would live to at least 98 or something, because he seemed healthy enough and long enough to do that, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. But still, 95 years old, that's quite a life to, you know, to live. And he did a lot with it too. He didn't just do it for like some of his life. He did it for, of course, a lot of it, even till like the last year. So yeah, rest in peace, Stan. I wish wells to your family, and I sympathize, of course, with all the fans and relatives of him as well. Excelsior, Stan.